Konnie-A from Star Trek Beyond. She's so hot. You know what would make her even better? Pilot seating. Yeah. I don't care if she's not even a battle cruiser. Pilot makes me more turned on than Crusher with the ghost candle.
Opposite strength is one again!
Hi, I'm Sean Reimer. I don't rhyme, and what the hell, Cryptic? And don't give me that stuff about, Deca restructuring, Cryptic restructuring, because Phil Frazier, CEO of Cryptic, said Cryptic is still responsible short-term for the development of the game. So, you know what? I think it's fair to rant a little bit about this absolute crap going on with the game right now. From a console perspective as well, because I don't see enough of that going on. And mind you, a lot of these aren't exclusive to console, but I feel like the miscommunication from the console end has gone too far at this point. Deca, if you're listening to this, please address these shortcomings, because this is bonkers. I can't deal with this. First off, Elite TFOs suck. Now, completely ignoring the botched launch of these Elite TFOs on console, these were supposed to come out during the 14th anniversary story update, but eventually had to get pushed back until the 14th anniversary bundle. The Elite TFOs themselves are absolutely disheartening. If there wasn't the reward of much easier to craft ISO mags, I would not be torturing both myself and my ship with these. For a long time, I have focused on DPS chasing from a console perspective, which is quite stupid, I'll be honest. I found solo ways to do it. Now, that being said, even though I like chasing damage as much as I can, I like building my ships to be able to survive solo as well without sacrificing too much damage. For example, I run Attack Pattern Beta, which will debuff the enemies, and I also run a Duty Officer with it to heal my hull in the process. I use the Shield Absorber console thing from the Valdor, since that's unrestricted now, which has actually allowed me to take off Exodus and that entire strategy, saving me a Starship trait slot, a personal space trait slot, and 2 intel slots that I can use for other stuff. And it also means I don't have to use strictly intel ships, which has greatly expanded my field of being able to build ships for solo content and really expand my thinking. So none of what I've put on my ship has been designed to take away from the damage. Until now, because if you are a good player playing an Elite TFO, you are going to get punished. Because the randoms in there, there's no gear requirements, there's no roles that are set up. I don't know how you do that, but it is an absolute cluster. You warp in there, and if you're any good, you are generating all the threat, especially if you're going for scatter volley or fire at will. I'm honestly tempted to switch to single target. I know I'm still going to generate some threat, but damn it, I might have to. It's also gotten me interested in making a tank build just so I can maybe complete a few of these, which would be fantastic. But good players actively get punished for doing good in these and generating that damage because they're generating all the threat from these enemies. It's made me a little self-conscious about my build as well. I've kicking and screaming had to take out the revolutionary 2-piece and put in the disco 2-piece for some survivability. And yes, I don't see a huge damage decrease doing that, but I feel like it's a slippery slope where I'm just gonna try and add a bunch of tanking elements onto a destroyer where I really shouldn't have to do that. This is a ship that can absolutely handle solo content, so I'm very, very frustrated doing these. So I guess the ISO mags are worth it. It's been really interesting to see that market crash.
And we're not getting the bid wanted. We're not getting the stop trading, and we see where the buyers are. We're just every day they're pounding it.
Ho ho!
George is getting upset!
And the amount of ships you see in these Elite TFOs too, it's like, can we stop warping in with an Enterprise J? What are you trying to do? You're not trying to tank, you're not trying to deal damage, you're just there to be a pancake. A useless pancake. Stop it. Second, console didn't get the PC patch. So remember how on PC, when the 14th anniversary update came out, they had some issues with bridge officers, specifically mainly Romulan SROs, not getting the crit severity and the crit chance buffs that come with those bridge officers and why they're so desirable. They recognized it. They fixed it on PC before that update came out on console. So I was hoping, okay, so, well, it's not going to happen on console, right? Because they've already fixed it on PC. They're probably going to fix it in the back end for the console patch, and we're going to be all good. Right?
Incorrect.
Yeah, no, it's safe to say when it comes to that sort of thinking with Star Trek Online, it's not a bug, it's a feature. It's quite depressing seeing my ship at 27% crit chance when it used to be closer to 40. I have not seen numbers that low since I started playing back in 2016. Also, the fleet-powered network array on PC for a while, that was overriding scatter volley, which kind of defeated a lot of meta players chasing records using that console to begin with. That's been fixed on PC, but when it came to console, surprise, surprise, I try running it on my scatter volley build with plasma, and it's regularly overriding it for rapid fire. Unless you're piloting a A-10 Warthog in Star Trek Online somehow, rapid fire isn't going to do anything for you. Neither is high yield. If you have a Maelstrom, you better wait that extra little bit for that torp spread to kick in, because
You're gonna have a bad time.
So where's the part where we have a good time?
And finally, the Konnie-A. The Kelvin Konnie-A, to be exact. I gotta take a look at the stats on here, because this is a whole thing. For those who don't know, Star Trek Beyond is one of my favorite Star Trek films. It's kind of neck and neck with Wrath of Khan at this point, which is interesting, to say the least. Sucks it bombed at the box office, because I thought it was really good. Sucks the trailer was not doing a good job advertising that whatsoever. MX vs. ATV presents Star Trek Beyond, rated R. And without a doubt, one of my favorite parts of that was the Connie 2. I think Sean Hargraves did an amazing job designing this. He did some interviews with Trek Yards about his design process, the parallels and motifs that he used in designing this ship. And she looks absolutely gorgeous. I think he did the Franklin and Yorktown as well. So really 3 for 3 on that one. A hat trick, as they say in Canada. Sadly, when it comes to the Connie 2 in Star Trek Online, I don't have any clue what they were doing when it came to the stats. In all fairness, we only saw the ship for about 30 seconds, which is still longer than the Enterprise F in Star Trek Picard, but So there wasn't a lot to go on when it came to accessories for it, but it's a complete mismatch of accessories. The proximity-based anti-opposition emitter, I originally thought this was PP AoE, which I abruptly responded while watching the stream. I got a PP AoE right here! But the idea with this is it deals more phaser damage and flight speed and turn rate, and you're immune to phaser damage and kinetic damage, assuming you keep your speed up and you're very, very unusually close to the enemy. I want to take a look at this further when it comes to actually using this in the game, but this is the part that I don't get, and I'm gonna skip the starship trait for a second because I need to illustrate something that I think is really wrong with how they're developing ships, and it's kind of what I was alluring to with that skit at the beginning. Stop putting pilot seating on everything. Contrary to how the developers think the game works, which that's a whole other thing, Kael doesn't know how to build a ship to save his life. He is not aware of the bugs in the game. He's not even aware of a full-spec Intel ship having a cloak, even though it's a useless cloak, in all fairness. People in the game, they're not going to be flying the ship full throttle around enemies, because that's not how to deal damage. It just isn't. If that's what they're trying to do, it's not ideal. Especially on a console perspective, because you're using the D-pad to kind of cycle through throttle. I kind of forget how it works on PC, but it's just, it's not ideal. I'd rather stay parked and focus on really executing my firing arcs and my abilities. My favorite ship, the Blue Nose, which is a Terran Hydra Intel destroyer, has actually very, very similar primary and secondary seating to this. It is also a Commander Intel, it's also a Lieutenant Commander pilot, but that ship you can equip dual heavy cannons on, so you can properly take advantage of surgical strikes. Don't get me wrong, you can do surgical strikes on this, but it's in a similar position as the Legendary Ambassador. But that was more of a balance thing, because the Legendary Ambassador, it can do surgical strikes and recursive shearing, so of course it's not going to be able to run dual heavy cannons. That's nuts. But as for this, why it doesn't have dual heavy cannons. I don't know why the legendary one is able to run it, which, by the way, I'm hoping you can take the Connie-A skin and put it on the legendary one. Then I feel it might be a little more worth it. When it comes to pilot abilities for my Terran Hydra Intel Destroyer, I focus on ones that aren't reliant on flight speed, which isn't a lot of them. A lot of them really are dependent on that. You want to get a damage boost from Fly Her Apart, you're going to need to, well, fly her apart.
Fly her apart then.
But I run Cold Hearted, and then I put something like Attack Pattern Lambda on, Clean Getaway for an Unconventional Systems proc, just to get some major debuffing with the enemies. I find that works really well. Alternatively, if I'm using the Hydra console, I'll put Reinforcement Squadron on there to get some pets going so that that will deal more damage, along with the multi-vector assault mode. So I feel like the Terran Hydra, yes, it has pilot seating, but it's much more suitable to something like this. I don't understand why the Connie-A has pilot seating. Because you're not going to be using the Hydra console with this, without the multi-vector assault mode. Sure, there's reinforcement squadrons, but there's better implementations for using that Hydra console. And then when it comes to using something like Cold Hearted, you can't run scatter volley on this. You can't run surgical strikes. You can, but again, why would you? In terms of getting the most out of this when it comes to firing modes, it's either beam overload or fire at will. Which, again, you're going to be better off with Miracle Worker, or I'd even go Temporal. Temporal's better. Miracle Worker, sure, Miracle Worker doesn't have unconventional systems procs. Please, for the love of God, add some. Hell, put Command on there. If you really want to focus on this ship, learning from its attack in Star Trek Beyond, if you really want to focus on its defense, put Suppression Barrage on there. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something here. Going back to the Starship trait, Gravitational Nexus, this is another complete mismatch. I kind of get what they were going for when they were studying Yorktown Station, gravitational nexuses and whatnot, but this is a Sci-Torp trait. When you're not going to be rocking science at all on this. I don't see how you'd be doing that. A Lieutenant Commander Tactical pilot, at least on the Terran Hydra, that pilot seat is in engineering, so you can really afford to, put a few pilot abilities on there to spice things up. You are losing tactical slots here. That's not good. So that Lieutenant Commander Universal, you're really going to have to choose between putting a Gravity Well on there or putting a Torp Spread 3 or something on there. Sure, there's the Lieutenant Universal, but come on. But bonus EPG, and then bonus projectile weapon damage. I feel like there's better ways to get both. Cheaper ways to get both. Delphic Tear, for instance. Delphic Tear, you get 20% bonus exotic damage, and then you get 5% crit severity, which I guess we need with SROs not working nowadays. And then it's radiation damage. It fits in with 5 magics. I feel like that's where the meta is going. Even with Sci-Torp, you're going to want some 5 magic stuff in there. Extends to allies, hangar pads, targetable torpedoes, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. You're better off using other traits, especially since this is a promo ship.
Disappointed!
How is this a promo ship? This is garbage. This is, like, if it's in the C-store, whatever, but you have something like the Atlantis. The new Atlantis from the 14th anniversary bundle. Get that ship. That's honestly, I love the Terran Hydra, but if I had to choose like a Deuside or really any platform, that ship is extremely flexible for really whatever you could throw at it. The amount of unconventional systems procs alone, from what I counted, you could put 9 on there. So I don't know why, from a performance standpoint, you'd be choosing the Connie-A. I don't know. Again, if you can put the skin on the legendary Connie, fine. I'll look into that. I might have to dust off that legendary Connie, which that can do proper surgical strikes. It's got 2 intel seats, which people complain about, but I think that's actually really cool. You're not sacrificing unconventional systems procs or override subsystem safeties, so I think that's pretty neat when it comes to that ship. But yeah, no. The only good thing about this ship is the skin when it comes to the Connie-A. Yeah, I really don't think they know how their game's working at this point. I know a lot of people are leaving. I know systems designers are leaving. I get that. So, yeah, no, this is hot garbage. This is absolutely hot garbage. It's a worse version of the Terran Hydra. But it's in a Connie skin, so people are going to spend $200 on it. Good job, Cryptic. You got us again.
Hello, I like money.
Why didn't they make this a battle cruiser? The other one was a battle cruiser. Can we stop making just regular cruisers? If you're gonna make regular cruisers, I don't know, add something to it. This is pathetic. This had the name Enterprise on it. What are you doing? First with the Enterprise G and then with this. Both of these new Enterprises suck in the game. So apologies for the rant. I know this was not like I try and be upbeat. I really do. This is driving me crazy. That coupled along with console not even receiving word of the anniversary giveaways. I knew about it because I'm on Discord, but frankly, expecting everyone to be on Discord or in Star Trek Online's case on Twitter, I refuse to call it X, to receive updates on promotions in the game, that's ridiculous. They need to get better at console communication, they need to get better at designing systems for these ships, and they need to be able to scale these ships appropriately with how they're being released, whether it be C-Store, Lockbox, or Promo Pack. Will that happen? I really doubt it, but Deca, ball's in your court because Cryptic clearly dropped it. I'm Sean Reimer, I don't rhyme, and thanks for watching.